Welcome, friends, to the monthly satsang. It's good to be here physically. I've tried my best to come here often, but I think maybe it's Ishwarji or something else, that is writing something else in my future. So, December plan somehow did not work out. Ishwarji's Bhandara. And last couple of times also because of weather situation, I could not be here physically. It seemed like even this time also I would not be able to make it because yesterday there was some hiccup in weather and a lot of planes got cancelled, and this morning I had difficulty catching the flight. So, but I made it. I'm so happy to be here despite all the challenges. I feel that, if I face some challenge, it is Ishwarji who is looking after all of us, If there is nothing happening, then I would be worried that nobody cares about me or about us. So similarly, on the data front, we have been having a bit of a challenge, but somehow over time, all of the things seem to work out fine. If you go to data, which is in Bruce, you will see hopefully in a couple of weeks some activity happening, some construction work in terms of putting the foundation start, and we are also planning for phase 2, and we are in the process of signing a contract. At least we are negotiating currently with an architect who worked on the phase 1 plans. So I'm hoping that in a couple of weeks, hopefully in a month, we will have a firm plan and we'll be able to produce the design for the second phase. And based on that, we'll be able to start the construction hopefully in a couple of months. That's my sincere hope. And whatever eventually ends up happening, we'll accept it as Ishwarji's wish, because ultimately it is his work that is being done here. And all of us are just bodies, trying to make sure that in terms of physical outcome, we are able to see the vision come true, Ishwarji's dream come true. So we are here in whatever capacity we have, whatever role we can play. We are doing our best, and ultimately, we'll leave everything to him. And we surrender all the result to him. It doesn't matter how much effort we put. I guess at some point we realize that all these efforts don't mean much, unless he wants it done in particular way. So I'm happy to be just here, doing my bit along with so many others like you, and just trying to make sure that his dream becomes successful through all of us. And in few years, hopefully, we can see a building over there and celebrate that day of opening when we can all dedicate that building to Ishwarji's master, Huzur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji. And building is one thing. Building is just a place like this place in Barrington Library where we can talk about his message and we can remind ourselves of the important work that he did in getting all of us together here. I can, whenever I look back and see the changes that have taken place in my life, I cannot imagine that this will be a life that I will be leading one day. This is totally incomprehensible for me. But seems like we have written some script for ourselves, some interesting script, I don't think I will trade this for anything else, Despite all the variety of ups and downs I have seen in my life, personal life, in terms of technical work or other things, I think this is the only thing that I think at the end of life is really meaningful. Things that we can really carry over to next life or whatever the future turns out to be. I'm just happy to be here in now, and in the past when that was a now in Ishwarji's presence and with all of you. So I find it grateful to have his blessing, and just the opportunity to find a man like him, man Ishwaji, whose picture you see behind me. So I'm quite honored by your love, and whenever I come here, all of you show up in my support. So I'm really grateful for that gesture, and also offline, acknowledging the effort that I'm putting. I know it's a very small effort compared to what you all have been doing. You have known Ishwaji for much longer. Some probably gave their whole life to supporting him. I wish I could have done that, but now looks like I still have maybe a few decades in front of me. So let's see how that turns out. With His grace, everything will work out. At the end, whatever happens, I'll be happy that I was in a company of this great master, who never said he was a master. He was just a sevadar for his master. So we will be constructing that building hopefully in a couple of years, and we'll dedicate the building in Bruce to his master. And along with that, there are other activities also happening. In a month from now, around end of May, we'll have Garden Seva happening. So hopefully some of you can come over there, and I also plan to spend at least a couple of days and maybe work from there. And I'm also quite excited by the different kind of activities that we have planned, and there'll be little mini construction also happening outside of the meeting hall that we had planned. So that will begin soon. So I'm quite excited. It's summer. It's going to be good weather. So I'm looking forward to that. But weather these days are pretty unpredictable, like in December or just a couple of months back when my flight got cancelled. I'm okay either way, just coping with the situation, and things could have been much worse. I'm happy that we are all safe, and I'm able to see all of you. And so I'm looking forward to that event. So Dera is good for getting together and remembering the message. And for people who are new to this path, for them it will be important to come to a place, completely forget their daily routine, because our lives are so busy that it's very hard to remember sometimes that we are in this spiritual path and we are supposed to remember our master and his message every day. But I don't need to tell you folks that how difficult this life is. And even in my case, although my life is not that difficult, but whenever I engage in some work, it completely takes my attention. And even after the work gets over, for a certain number of hours, you have this momentum that has built up. Things go on in your mind, and somehow you cannot force it back to thinking about spirituality, because sometimes it feels like a very heavy subject. And especially if you have been following this path, you know all the struggles that happens in your life, how mind is always attached to things outside, and it never wants to go back and listen to the same messages over and over. So this sort of requires a dedicated training. And as Ishwaji used to say, that you can't just decide that on the weekend you will do meditation or think about your master. So somehow you need to have this practice of remembering him all the time. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. But there are some practical challenges also. I've myself seen it, and all of you who have been on the path can attest to that. So it's good to have these monthly meetings so that we can remember the message that our masters left for us. And it's a good occasion for us to also gather, maybe share some notes and discuss things that will help our progress. And it doesn't matter if we just end up talking about our master and good days we had with them, with all the satsangis and him. That itself is a blessing for us. And so with that thought, I think that will change our perspective of what truly being on this spiritual path is. So we'll construct that building whenever that happens. But I think the most important building that we have that is needed to be on this spirituality is our body that we have been given and endowed in this life. And And most of the time we have been struggling outside. Before meeting this master, I was also going around to different temples, reading a few books, watching a lot of YouTube lectures, but somehow I was never satisfied. Somehow I the messages, although these things benefited me, a lot of lectures, in terms of understanding that okay, whatever we see outside is not the real truth, but nobody gave a message in such a succinct way that I could my whole sort of being could resonate with that. And somehow meeting, after hearing this master's lecture on YouTube, just a couple of them, just few minutes, in retrospect, I can't imagine that happened with me, where I just looked at some message for 10 minutes and everything seemed to appeal to me, that okay, I was willing to believe anything that came out of this man's mouth. So somehow that authenticity was there, and no amount of reading the books or even doing a lot of yogic exercise, somehow, although I cannot say that it did not benefit me. I believe whatever path we end up taking in our life, the fact that we are here at this point, those things must have contributed somehow to our benefit. As even great master who is Ishwaji, who was Ishwaji's master, Sawan Singh Ji, used to say that whatever you do, it never is wasted. So any attempt in seeking the truth is just steps in the right direction, as long as you are going in the right direction, which is trying to seek yourself, seek in your heart. At some point, through coincidence, somebody will appear in your life who will show you the right direction. So I think that's what happened with most of us, I believe. It just can't be coincidence, because according to Eastern spirituality and masters like Ishupuri Ji, they used to say that when a chela is ready, that's when masters appear. So they don't say that when a chela meaning disciple or the seeker is ready, through coincidences masters just appear. It's not like that they have to seek and search and read literature and make themselves capable, but somehow if the seeking is high enough, seeking is great enough, that no matter of other teachers' teaching, satisfies the mind. That's when these saints in what seemed like a normal person, and especially Ishwaji, who was a modern master, who could deliver lectures on any subject, I feel, and he has given lectures beyond spirituality on other topics as well. So they appear in our life magically, but I have been on search for quite some time, although not sometimes not so seriously, sometimes seriously, depending on the kind of issues that were taking on, that were happening in my life at that point in time. So it fluctuated, but I was maybe part-time seeker, and maybe part-time, my occupation itself kept me so busy that I could not really seek seriously. But I'm happy for every path that my life took me through, every ups and downs that happened. I cannot imagine that without some of those dips in my life, I would be here. So I'm overall grateful to everything that has happened and everything that is going to happen, and I'm looking forward to the whole unfolding of events here in Bruce, in North America, everywhere. If you see the modern life, it was supposed to help humanity invest whatever has happened in terms of medicine, in terms of creature comfort, cars. We are at the top of technological marvels. We have invented so many things. We have, along with that, along with all the miracles, things that are supposed to give us better health, give us creature comfort. Along with that, somehow we have also progressed in a negative direction, which is in terms of using the technological edge in making bombs, using things to sort of make our life complicated. Somehow assisting, we wanted to get assistance from our mental faculties. We improved our life, or we wanted to improve our life to get rid of all the negative things that life in general has to offer, like kids get sick, so a lot of medical innovations have happened, because of which people don't get sick often enough, or they don't die early, so mortality rate has improved quite a bit. So we are healthier in general, but somehow along with that, we don't have that comfort in our maybe heart and in mind also, that we are not as peaceful, even though we have a lot of maybe wealth, but we are worried about the wars happening. We are constantly worried about the political situation. So things haven't settled down. We thought that with our mind's ability we'll be able to solve everything. But I think the more we solve, there are even more questions. Now we are trying to go out of this planet and go to Mars and other places and bring the life over there. And so the quest does not seem to end. And it's not like that we are on this technological innovation, or we think that with this innovation we'll be able to relieve ourselves of everything, all the negative things that life has to offer. But somehow, at the same time, we are also getting into different kind of wars. Economy, ups and downs keep on happening. So we haven't really solved much. It's just that from one part, maybe we are in a different part. And if you look at the Eastern civilization, somehow they have accepted that mental capacities have some limits, or they have realized how to live with all the technological evolution that happened, and sort of kept them at bay, used just enough of technological advancement to humanity's benefit, but they focused much more on inner happiness. So they started seeking inside, and because of that, maybe because the amount of seeking that people had inside their heart, not necessarily in terms of technological innovation or technological growth that people were looking at. A lot of masters, were born on the Eastern hemisphere, and that's where a lot of spiritual growth ended up happening. Now things like all the advancement that we see somehow did not give us the thirst, did not quench our thirst in West. So a lot of us have turned to spirituality because they realize that that Eastern countries have something different to offer. And a lot of you have personally have gone there and have known different masters and understood their message. And a lot of people who came back here ended up writing about the masters in East. And so that kind of created that revolution where now a lot of us are in the West are seeking about spirituality. They at least have heard about it. And whenever I go to restaurants nowadays, I definitely see that there are a lot of vegetarian options available. So that's you can see the change yourself, how people talk about karma. There is a lot of awareness about whatever you do, you have to bear the fruits of that. So that awareness is happening. So it's great to see all that, So, and masters like Ishwarji and other masters as well from Sant background and other yoga teachers have been coming here because I think a lot of masters, including great master Huzur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji, have predicted that axis of spirituality is going to shift here. And almost I can feel that the events that are happening in last maybe 3-4 years that have accelerated the course of that transition happening to United States and all the North America in predominantly and Canada, because you can see that how the economy has turned, and seems like we are at a place where it will be very hard to go back to the normal situation that we had maybe 10 years back. At least looking at what's happening in Californian companies, tech industry, and other places also. I feel that in a way, when I remind myself of the message that Ishwarji talked about, how the spirituality is going to shift here, it seems like everything is hinting at that okay, the pace is accelerating. But a lot of transitions are happening at the same time. Economic downturn, the virus outbreak that happened, and how different countries suffered because of that, and a lot of us also have personally suffered. I think the transition seemed to be speeding up, and but those who have been close to Ishwarji, I think, can rest on the fact that he was amongst us, and he initiated us, and he will take care of whatever happens in our life. So we have that assurance, and not only just this life, but the life that is there for us beyond this life. As the time takes its course, we'll find out at the end of our life, what rests. But we don't have to really wait till our end of life to really find out what message these masters from Sant Mat have given us, which is basically, you don't have to wait for future to find out who we truly are, and you don't have to be affected by what's happening outside in the world. There is a way to go inside and find the truth for yourself, and the way to do is to do that is through meditation that Ishwarji has taught, Surat Sabd Yoga. Through that, we'll be able to discover what is truly in our dera, which is our physical body that we have been given. And we carry on, we take this head, wherever we go, and we are very close to the dera all the time. If we can realize that, we don't have to be in any particular physical building, although it is good to have a physical building where we can meet people and talk about our beloved master and help others on this path. But at the same time, it is important for us to discover who we truly are, because without that, we'll still be struggling in the difficulties that life has to give us outside, like challenges with our job, with our health, psychological issues, problem with our friends, kids, all kind of issues. Life is never idle. It is never at the, it has always surprises to offer us. So, but if you really want to understand and completely get rid of all the difficulties that happen in your life, not that things will not happen outside, but because of the knowledge that you will have and conviction that you will develop because of the true knowledge that you will encounter yourself, you'll realize that whatever is happening outside is nothing but a play, and play that you have decided to partake in yourself. And that has been the message of all the masters, who have said that don't worry whatever is happening outside, I'm going to be your true friend, and I'm going to help you find out who you truly are. And they have given us a path, a step-by-step method of meditation. And I think at the end of the day, they have given their friendship to us and told us that we are going to be there, he's going to be there at the end of the day. He's still there with us. And if you have been initiated by him, they have given you a promise that they are with you all the time, 24/7. But we have difficulty in sometimes believing it. It's been quite a number of years that I got initiated, and I've been struggling myself on this path, because sometimes it's maybe because of the karma that we have to pay, and if all that karmic events are taken care of, maybe I will not be here after that, and nobody would be here, if everybody's karma is immediately paid off, and we have to work out some of these karmas, and if you are in other level of consciousness, maybe astral level or causal level, you will be just reaping the rewards of that. It will be very hard to pay off the karma, and because this is considered the best life for paying off karma, and in other places, basically you reap the rewards of doing good work in this life. So if you have been maybe donating a lot of money or helping other people, you have punya karma, good karma on yourself. So you accumulate all that, because we have all the desire sometimes to enjoy the benefits of doing good deeds in the back of our mind, sometimes we know that we are doing a good deed, and sometimes we have this desire that, okay, we reap the reward of doing all that, all the punya karma. If you're helping poor people or helping somebody in some way, somehow we have this expectation in our back of our mind, and or if we do anything harmful, at that point also there is a part of us that somehow knows that or alerts us that, okay, beware what you're doing. So there's a part of us that is always there warning us, but we somehow are not in touch with ourselves, and we ignore that advice that comes from this true place, which is much closer to us. Because in general, whatever we do in our life, I think there is a part of us that is always watching over us. It guides us. It somehow points to the true north, and we realize, and sometimes because of the habits that we have been born with, sometimes the way the situations that come up in our life, we are, and because of past habits, we are sometimes bound to act in particular way, even though there is this internal compass that guides every one of us, tells you to act in different way, and somehow we later on, after doing particular deed, we realize that we should not have done it ourselves. We should not have acted in particular way, maybe because of our greed or whatever the reason may be. So we create all this karmic judgment in our head, and that never goes away. We carry on that, and that is what we end up paying at the end of our life, sort of, all those accumulation of whatever we have, done throughout this life. But this life can, at the same time, be used as a vehicle to get moksha or enlightenment and get away from all the ups and downs this life has to offer. So it can act in a very positive way, as well as, if you don't heed the advice of what your internal guidance is telling you, you fail to take advantage of all the benefit that this life has to offer. A lot of masters, and including Ishwarji, have told us stories of people who have been stuck in higher regions for thousands of years, and other saints, out of compassion, they have decided to help them, because these people, in course of finding the true answers, they have been stuck in different regions, and they don't know how to overcome that. So out of compassion, the saints, perfect living masters, have given them a new life and have told them to be born as a human being. So we don't realize the importance of this life, that we, in general, as a layman, you see what's happening in this world, you get frustrated with all the difficulties this life has to offer. But there's a big silver lining also, that this life can act as a sort of trampoline to take you to completely a newer dimension, newer place, that is completely free from all the difficulties that this life has to offer. And best of all, if you can meet this perfect living master who can take care of everything for you, who can be always with you, you will never feel lonely. So meeting that kind of person in this life, what seems like a very mundane and dry life, where we are trying to, not only trying to get rid of our problems, we are trying to even escape this planet and willing to go to another planet, different planets, to somehow take care of all the issues. And we feel that by engineering solutions, we'll be somehow able to get rid of all the problems that we have. It's the life has been there on this planet for such a long time, and yet we ourselves, find our life in such difficult situations, all kind of diseases. Most of us struggle for our daily necessities, right? We go to a job because we want to earn few dollars. If you are in United States and in different currencies, and you want to accumulate enough wealth for yourself. If you have decent amount of wealth, you want to accumulate still more for your future. You want to build a cushion. Outside my house, I look at squirrels. and how they, in the morning they get up and, start collecting different things and nuts and all that. They start accumulating. You look at ants, how they collect things which are much bigger than their body weight. And we are no different. I mean, when I go to Costco, I wonder, how much stuff we carry with ourselves, and within a couple of weeks, it gets over and we collect more and more. In this country, we have bigger houses, bigger things to collect, and yet, the basic attitude of collecting more and more somehow never goes away. We never really, wonder about throwing things outside of our house. I heard of one saint in Maharashtra. He used to, every year or so, he would decide to get rid of all the assets, all the things that he had in his house. So literally he would call people, and people will show up at his home, and they are free to take everything that is there in his house. So that was his way of sort of getting rid of all the attachments that we have. So attachment can be not only physical, but it can be mental. How do you get rid of all the mental attachments that you have? It's very difficult. We have been on this journey for such a long time, and we struggle in our meditation. And while meditating, we truly realize what attachments we have. All the silent voices in our head, the another partner that you have in your head, other than your master, probably a copy of yourself, a mini copy of yourself that constantly chatters and never lets you, go inside. When you sit in meditation, that's when you realize that, it's not only the physical attachment, physical necessities that are keeping you away from going inside, but a lot of psychological attachment. You can have physical attachments that can be difficult to overcome. You can have a very psychological attachment that can equally be damaging. So you can be, you may not have necessity for physical things, but it can be just the physical attachment, or sometimes a relationship can trouble you in such a way that you can't really go inside. So I mean, it cannot be the importance of psychological things, bondings with others, or pain and pleasure that comes in a different form, not in a physical form, that cannot be diminished. So people who go through that, they realize that how it can be damaging to their life. A lot of kids nowadays, who have been, whose parents have been maybe separated, or parents have left them because of disease or something. They truly realize the value of maybe having some kind of psychological bonding with the siblings, parents. Sometimes you don't get along with your kids or brother and sisters, and those things kind of bother you to a degree where you would wish that you had only physical issues. At the same time, physical issues can sometimes be so grave. You can have a severe disease like cancer and things like that. That can also be a huge hindrance in progressing towards spirituality. But some of these things, come in a package for us to be in this planet, in this physical body, and that has to be, this. I often wonder, what was the design that Creator had in mind, the kind of diversity that you see around us, people from all kind of background, different belief, believing in external God or a creator, but sometimes not completely believing in those things, and believing that science itself can truly take us further, and we don't have to look at any external entity to justify our life. We can completely depend on our ability to make ourselves. And a lot of scientists believe in that, and the people who are on the cutting edge of medical science, a lot of them believe that everything can be overcome by through sheer mental force. And Ishwarji had talked in some of his lectures about the downsides of just thinking in terms of mental processes, analytical processes, because when we scientifically, when we try to analyze something, it's not holistic. We look at parts by part. When you want to design a car, you have to look at various facets of the car. You are looking at maybe engine. You're looking at the fuel system. You're looking at steering. You're looking at suspension, various things. So if you want to improve a car, you have to look at by the process of analysis, you are trying to measure everything in very microscopic detail. So it's okay to do with things that are physical in nature, but when we want to analyze ourselves, we cannot really. It's very hard to do that. You can look at your maybe vision system. You can see how you observe the world, how you hear different things. You can maybe look at your gut. You can look at your lymphatic system. You can look at your locomotive system and analyze these individually. But if you do that, you still don't understand what a human being is, because it's not just physical in nature. There's a lot of emotional things happening. There are a lot of facets of a human being that cannot be just analyzed just based on material things. You cannot just say we are just composed a bunch of chemicals. There are when the life goes away from this body, suddenly everything in this physical body is intact. Still, the body cannot move if you are dead. So there is a part of us that is still a mystery. We do not know what it is that keeps our body going. Although we can see that, your heart is beating, you are breathing. When you are sick, you can take medicine and good food and nurture yourself back to health. So we have part of the answers, but there is a huge mystery that we don't fully understand beyond the surface. And it's not that we have completely resolved all the issues, physical issues that happens in our body. People are still looking for answers to maybe cancer and other diseases. So that struggle keeps on going. So what masters have told us that there's a bigger question to be answered just beyond these physical things that we see, which have been answered by a lot of mystics in the East. And that's what people in the West have been looking for now after trying their luck with a lot of technological advances. And so with our luck, we have been in contact with Ishwarji and a lot of other masters who have been coming here. So it's a great fortune, and we should admire what Creator has given us in this physical body, and see if we can put a little bit of attempt to understand what's happening in our head, or the dome that has been given to us, where according to all the masters, all the answers are with us. All we need to do is somehow cut the bondages that we have, not only physical bondages, but the desires or attachment that we have. But challenge is that it's very hard to detach ourselves from the other things. Physical necessities, you'll always need. You'll always look after your creature comfort. If it is too cold outside, you'll look for a warmer place. If it is too hot, you'll look for a colder place. So that race between night and day, cold and hot, that never goes away. It will always be there. What you can do is somehow understand the reality that is how the life is. So how do we find how to get out of that? Not by just cutting the need for, let's say, heat or cold or just a comfortable situation, but much more sort of steady things that will give us comfort for much longer period. And it doesn't matter what the outside things are, it will never bother us. A lot of masters, through their own example, their own life, have told us that doesn't matter what's happening physically in their life. Like a lot of masters were like weavers. Kabir was a weaver, and a lot of people who were born in a society which was not very helpful for their occupation. A lot of masters, through their own surrounding, have told us that they need not be a king to get the enlightenment, but they can be an average human being and still find that the peace of essence, everlasting joy, Satchidanand that we are looking for, and completely be in peace with whatever situation they are put in. And they have encouraged us to find that essence in ourselves. We don't need to go outside. They have said that whatever we see outside is nothing but a reflection of what is inside, and we can truly find inside that has everything. So if this world that we experience outside is just a copy of what is happening inside, then if we are able to find that copy, then we will understand how this creation truly happens from inside. And they have through their own life, they have shown this example that it is possible to find this place. And because of that, they have lived amongst us to encourage us, to show us this path through their own example. And we had this example in Ishwarji himself. He also went through a lot of difficulties. And one time he was giving a discourse or IMR in California. And after the IMR got over, we met him. And he was recounting his stories of leaving Pakistan. So India was divided into two countries, India and Pakistan. And when the separation happened, a lot of violence also took place. So his family had to escape from what was Pakistan, what was part of Pakistan back then, and how people had difficulty coming over to India. There was a lot of racial tension, and so he pretty much lost everything. When he came to Dera at the time, he carried just few things with him, and he had to reestablish his life completely, and his parents also had to do the same thing. And a lot of satsangis in Beas who were saved by great master Huzur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji, they had to go through unsurmountable difficulties, unimaginable difficulties, but these things happen. Every a lot of masters in their personal life have overcome those difficulties. So they show us that they are truly like us. Somehow our situation, we get tormented too much by just our situation only, and we don't realize that the world around us is actually going on in sort of perfection. There's negative forces in play. There are positive forces also in play. Our life is somehow balanced, but somehow our occupation with our maybe mind or the problems that we have, somehow we have also tendency to make it bigger than what they are. We complain sometimes too much, and but that's life. That's life as a human being. And so I'm grateful that we were in company of this master who, through his personal experience, through his guidance as a mentor, he was elder to us, and to me he was a CEO, he was a chairman, he was amazing human being who could crack joke at any point in time. He was never at a loss of jokes, and he could look at any scene, any outcome in life, and turn it around and show it in a different perspective. He used to say that, okay, if you want to do something, just do it. Don't worry about the outcome. Unless you try, you won't know whether it's going to work or not. So he always encouraged in terms of action. Do the action, but do it for your master. He used to, sometimes in satsangs, he used to recount the stories of his master and his master's master. How his master's master, Jamal Singh Ji, used to tell Sawan Singh Ji that this is how your daily routine needs to be. When you are working I think he was in military or engineering services. So whatever you do, do it not thinking that I'm going for a job because this job gives me money, but think that master has given me this job. I'm not doing this for the money that I get. So I'm going to do it for my master. And if you have this attitude where you are remembering your master all the time, every activity that you do is for him, then life becomes much easier. and you are always thinking in the spiritual way. So regardless of the situation that you are in, as I said, your job may be very taxing. If you are a medical profession, you are looking after patients. Of course, your attention is completely in helping someone recover. But you can think of that situation in a different light also, where you are not leaving spirituality to do your mundane work that gives you income to sustain yourself, but you can do both. Not only can you help yourself in physical ways, participate in job or whatever other necessities you have, or normal duties that you need to take care of as a maybe parent or as a child or as a sibling, whatever your relationship with your society is. You can turn this around in thinking of your master and turning it as a spiritual work, because you are giving all the credit of the work, the mundane work for yourself that you're doing, yet in a different way you are thinking of it as not as just your job, but it is a master who has given you the capacity to do that work. And really, I mean, if I look at my life, I cannot but thank him, because the situations that he has put me into and the capabilities, I'm here, even though I'd never given any talk in the past. I'm still struggling, as you can see, but I feel that I've been gaining this strength to be in front of people and say few things. It doesn't matter how ridiculous I sound, but I'm doing my best. And so thinking in that light helps. And you also are doing your part in listening to me, coming here, in this bad weather here, and I'm sorry that I could not make it last couple of times, not because of my attempts, but because of the circumstances. But so we have to change our life. It's not only thinking about the master on monthly meetings, but we have to make it a habit that we thank master for everything that happens, the negative situation or positive situation, and somehow remember him all the time, and not only just while doing the meditation, but the more love we are able to develop. And master used to say that you sometimes have to fake it. You just have to tell him that you love him. Because if love is what removes all our attachments from outside world, because he used to say, give an example of Shakey's pizza, right? How he was in love with the pizza, and I think that was before maybe Round Table Pizza or some other Pizza Hut came along. So Pizza Hut became the newer attachment, stronger attachment. So we can only attach, so unless we attach with something more attractive, which he said is inside. If he has initiated you, he has put his form inside you, radiant form inside you. Unless we can do that, we are. It will be very hard for us to detach from the physical attachments, physical necessities, or emotional attachment that we have outside. So what better than to trying to attach to him? And how do we attach to him? When you are in love with somebody, you praise them, you think about him all the time, you give credit to them. So similarly, if you give all the credit that is happening, positive or negative, to your master, and you can turn around even negative things. You can think that, okay, something bad might have happened. If I say that, oh, master, why did you make make the weather so bad that I had to cancel my flight? Imagine if the weather was like that and the flight had taken off, but I could not land because of the bad weather, or the flight had crashed or something like that, I would not want to be in that situation. So the things could be much worse, and we are still here, safe. So I want to give all the credit to him, and want to encourage all of us to sort of fall in love by imitating love, thanking him about small things that happen in our life. And that's the way to attach ourselves with him. And as we sing more and more of his praises, I think our whole attitude will change. And will always be, this was somehow my habit in early days when I met him. There was not a time, where outside of the work, somehow, the mind would automatically get pulled into his talks, or looking into his lectures and thinking about him. I still, somehow that has, because of time that has passed, as he used to talk about, it's a sine curve. Sometimes it goes up, and sometimes it goes down, but overall it's trending up. We all are, working in our spiritual journey, and I would like to thank you all, in participating and being with me in this journey. And I hope that you will all take advantage of the hints that he has given in so many of his meetings, small advices that I, remind myself of sometimes, because I have to come here and deliver these monthly satsangs, so I need to remind myself. Maybe I'm just perceiving this as a act that I have to do outside, but it's a sort of, it has a dual aspect, that at the same time I'm working on myself through these things. So this is a sort of work in progress in both the directions. So this is a reminder to myself, as well as sharing some of the tidbits that Ishwarji always shared, and things that I find myself helpful in this spiritual path. With this, I would encourage all of you to come to Bruce whenever you can, participate in the Seva activities, and remember the time when Ishwarji was there in person, and his vibration still carries on, and his memories will always be in our heart all the time, and he's close to us. He's as close as we can remember, and we just need to somehow find our way back from where he is. He's giving his message inside, and he's waiting for us, as he used to say at the airport. So let's continue the journey together, and remember our master, and do this work for him. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming here and patiently listening to me. Thank you.